All right, I want to take you on a little trip with me. You know, currently, right now, I am a dog trainer, dog behavior consultant. I'm also the founder and director of the Fern Dog Rescue Foundation, which is a rescue to help homeless animals, homeless dogs. I also mentor other people who want to become dog trainers. So basically, my life revolves around animals, specifically dogs. And I thought it'd be fun to maybe go back to the beginning, to where it all began, where my life with animals began, and just to take you along with me to kind of show you my humble beginnings here. So right now we're heading to a small little tiny town in New Jersey called Leonia. Leonia, New Jersey is about maybe 10 minutes outside of Manhattan, right over the George Washington Bridge. Really small town. You could drive through it, and if you blink, you'll kind of miss it. But this is where I grew up. I moved here when I was 4 years old, and I pretty much grew up here, and my mom moved away when I was 16. So I spent the good chunk of my childhood, my youth, right here in Leonia. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to my old apartment. So what happens is when I was younger, maybe like 6 or 7, my parents divorced. We moved here together, but my parents divorced and my dad moved away, and my mom stayed in this apartment complex on Lakeview Avenue in Leonia. So here we are in Leonia right now. I have not been back. There's the high school right there. I haven't been back here probably in a couple decades. So this is going to be kind of fun to kind of see how things have changed and just kind of take me back a little bit. So I'm right on the main street, one of the main streets here, and I'm headed towards Lakeview Avenue, which is where I grew up in an apartment complex that was kind of like a self-contained little unit. So it was a really good place to grow up because I was kind of secluded from everything. It was a very safe environment for kids. So here we come right now. I can see that there's 2 different kinds of buildings. These haven't changed all that much, surprisingly. Let's make the turn onto Lakeview here. All right, this is gonna be cool. All right, so here it is. There's like, it was the old apartments and the new apartments. So these are the old apartments that are around here now, and they look very similar for the most part than what they did then. And right here is a circle, which looks much nicer than when I lived here. And here are the apartments, and they look really the same. Like, I'm amazed at how similar they look. Oh. But this was my playground. This is where I hung out. So I lived in the farthest corner apartment all the way in the back. So that's where we're gonna go now. We got some speed bumps here. But man, this looks identical to when I lived here. I can't believe that not much has changed wow. I expected to be like, I'm not gonna recognize this place, but I recognize this exactly. It's so similar to when I lived here. All right, so there's my apartment right there. All right, so let's go check it out. I want to show you around a little bit. It'll be pretty cool. All right, here I am. I made it. This is where I grew up. And right there, in that corner house, right, that corner apartment right there, 12C, Lakeview Avenue is where I grew up. I can remember jumping over that railing there like about 1,000,000 times as a kid to just get home. My mom was calling me because it was late. It was time to go in for dinner. But I used to, just this whole place, this is where I used to play, all back here. And the thing is, over here, come with me for a second. So back behind, in this corner, so right here you have in the back here are these woods, but then behind that is a train tracks, which just went by, I don't know if you heard that. And then behind that is a garbage dump. I don't know if it is anymore, but it used to be a garbage dump. And it was kind of like the place where you would ditch your unwanted cats, and I don't know if maybe people didn't ditch the cats there, maybe they just found their way there because of the smell or something. But what happened was, because I was in here in the corner, that the cats would kind of make their way over here, and hey, I was a little kid, I saw a cat that was hungry, so I fed it. It was cold or raining, I let him in, my poor mom. So at any point when I was a kid, I was taking care of anywhere from 3 to maybe 20 cats. And what would happen is they would come right over here and they would go into the cars. So if we come over here, especially when it got cold. Sorry for the glare. When it got cold, what they would do is they would just hide underneath all the cars, and they were a little feral, so you know they weren't that too friendly with people. And as a kid, what I would do is I would sit down right here on the concrete, and I would just hang out with them, and they would just stay under there. And I remember sitting here for, I don't know, it would seem like hours from what I remember, just gaining their trust. And this is when my rescue efforts, I think, started. As a kid, this is when I first got interested in rescue, because I had these cats that I wanted to be friends with, but they didn't like me. So I would just sit here, and every once in a while I'd give them some food or something, and over time I was able to gain their trust. And it took time, and I did this repeatedly with a lot of different cats that came in. Let me come in the shade so the lighting is a little bit better here. Whew, there I am. So I did that time and time again, and I started to gain these cats' trust, and then they would let me pet them, and I could feed them, and eventually maybe they let me inside. The other place that they would like to go is down here. So that's my place right there. It was my place. Then we have this basement in here. And what I would do is I would leave that door open back there so they'd have some shelter in the bad weather. And they would hang down there, and that's when I would go down and feed them and take care of them. So there's and like every once in a while, me and some of my friends and the lovely people in the neighborhood we would catch some of them and be able to spay and neuter them so that they didn't keep having kittens. But it was, when I trace back, you know, my love of animals and my desire to rescue started here. Now, my first official rescue I created that when I was about 10 years old. Because what my brother and I would do is we would get all of our unwanted toys that we didn't want or didn't want to play with anymore, that were still good, but you know, we were done with. And right over here, right outside my door, I would set up a little TV table, a little tray, and like a TV stand, like one of those TV trays you used to watch TV with back in the day, have your dinner with. I used to set it up there, have all my toys there, and I would sell them to the other neighborhood kids who might want them for, you know, like 5 cents, 10 cents, whatever. And then we would take all that money and we would go to the local store, which had a can for a local animal shelter, and you could donate some money. And we would take all the money from our toy sales and we would donate it to the animals. And that, I guess, was my very first foray into rescue. But this is where it all started. Okay, this I trace it back, and it's kind of fun being here again and seeing the old place and everything. And I mean, I had so much fun here, but it was revolved around the cats initially, and then my dad, now remember, my parents were divorced, so my dad lived in the Bronx, and we were with him one weekend, and we were driving around, and a beagle dog puppy, maybe it was like a year old or so, happened to be running around the street. And my dad, being an animal lover as well, decided, okay, well, we can't just leave him around the street in the Bronx, so we scooped him up. Didn't have any identification on, and my brother and I were begging. We wanted a dog so bad. We're begging, and my dad finally reluctantly agrees that we can keep him, but not keep him at his house. So he drops us back to my mom's with a dog. My poor mom, I can't imagine. God bless her. She put up with all this stuff, and she very, very, very reluctantly let us have the dog when we're not supposed to have dogs in the apartment. But like I said, my mom really put up with a lot. So she let us have this dog, and that dog's name was Henry, and it was my first dog. And that's where I started to have this, my first love affair with dogs began. We couldn't end up keeping Henry because, as you can imagine, a single mom trying to raise 2 kids with a young beagle puppy, not the right match. So it didn't work out, but it was the beginning of me realizing that, because I had been in a world with cats, that wow, dogs are pretty cool too. And that's where it all started. And now, looking back, I can see that those were the seeds were planted for not only my career as a dog trainer, but also the Fern Dog Rescue Foundation. All right, that was pretty fun. Still a little surreal being here. Hope you liked the journey. And it gets, it's nice to come back to your beginnings and see where it all began. And this is where my life with animals and rescue began. And now I have my own foundation, and I have an amazing team that's helping me help more animals and more dogs every day. It is a tireless, unbelievably exhausting effort, and we love doing it. It's great. We love the satisfaction of helping a dog who is probably not going to make it, and helping them through whatever issues they have, getting them healthy, and then seeing that smiling face, that wagging tail when they have the home that they love so much now, and their future is just going to be great. It's a really cool thing. The thing is, we love to do it, but it's a difficult job that we cannot do alone, and we struggle a lot of times to find the support, the resources necessary to do this job of rescue. And I understand that, not everyone can foster a dog. Not everyone is going to be able to come out and volunteer and help at adoption events. But I really think that there's something that everyone can do. And even the littlest thing makes a huge difference. And one thing that we struggle with all the time is money. It costs a lot of money to get these dogs healthy, because we'll take dogs that no one else will take because everyone else has given up on them. So we'll do that, but it costs money. So even any little bit that you can help us out with, $1, $5, whatever it is, any donation you can make would be so appreciated by us and our dogs, and it goes such a long way. We're a small organization. We don't have a lot of overhead. We have staff, is all volunteers, so every penny that you donate goes right to the dogs, okay? So anything you give us is directly helping out a dog in need. So if you can, I'd really appreciate you just spare whatever you can to help us do our job. Come on the Fern Dog Rescue team, and let's help some dogs together. All right? Thank you so much. Thanks for coming along for this ride for me. I'm going to try to make it, find my way home, and I'll see you real soon. All right? Thank you.